On this episode, might be the most random episode in the history of Business and Biceps, John Fosco.
This episode, this is a public service announcement. This episode is not endorsed by John Fosco. So
No.
you are listening at your own fucking risk.
That is fake news because John Fosco dropped some great knowledge bombs within some of these questions. I don't believe that, John Fosco. They need to listen to this show immediately. Right.
Okay. Listen to it then.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business and Biceps. And you better wake your ass up, because on today's show, this is going to be random as a motherfucker. We got Trey back on camera, back on the show. We got about 200 questions that I downloaded and sent to Trey that he's going to throw at me and John all over the board, and we're just going to have fun and shoot the shit. But first, I want to address this thing that Fosco talked about. He thinks he's a sharpshooter. Jason Newland said he got beat at the range, and I just wanted to address that early.
Fake news, right? Fake news. So first off, never happened. Number two, I am a sharpshooter, and that is really the end of the conversation.
Well, I wish, because John is always known for, if you guys don't watch the video, John always changes his name on the video, and today it is Sharpshooter.
Correct.
Now mine,
it's for a reason. It's for a reason.
Well, I was trying to amend my name from just my handle to Professor G, because that is happening again today, John. Today, I am. Professor. That is potentially I'm a fake professor, but I am not, except for the one time where last class. There's a kid that didn't do any of his assignments. And I called him, right? This is amazing. I don't even know if I told you this story. I called him. I said, dude, you know I'm not even a real teacher, right? Yeah, I was like, so when I call you to like let you know, like you're dropping the fucking ball, like I can't get in trouble. Like you're just killing this right now. Like I'm going to give you an F. Like to get an F in my social media course is so hard.
To get an F from a teacher that can't spell.
I can't spell.
I mean, it's off the charts. I don't even know what to say.
That's hard to achieve.
Outside of the fact I'm a sharpshooter. No, it is.
Hard to achieve. Guy can't spell. Professor. I mean,
hard to achieve. Agreed.
All right. So Trey, welcome back to the show.
What's up, guys?
So if anyone was wondering, we established this during a group text. That is not a bandana nor a wave cap. That is a Trave cap.
Oh, a Trayvon Bear cap.
Yeah,
but it's not by Psych Shop though.
We don't know. There might be a spring launch next spring. So
get John an XL soon. Get him an XL. All right, Trey. So I know you had about 5 minutes to look at the list, if you even looked at it. And I would say rapid fire, John, whether it's one word answer or a whole story comes out of it, whatever comes to mind, and I'll answer next. All right.
Let's do this.
I have no clue what's coming. It's amazing. Go ahead, Trey.
All right. This one's a little off the cuff. So what is the strangest thing that you've ever eaten?
Oh, strangest thing you've ever eaten, huh?
Oh, I see. We're going third grade questions. The strangest thing. This is like, you have like today we're going to share with the class. Anyways, the strangest.
You probably ate some fucking, some bugs or something before, ain't you, John?
Get the fuck out of here. I'm not from that. I ain't from fucking Appalachia, guy. So here, I remember, my dad owned, a pizza place, a restaurant when I was younger, and he brought in just a straight up, calamari is octopus, but he actually went to the market and he bought like a real, like probably, I don't know, 4-foot octopus.
Oh wow.
And I remember playing with the fucking thing, and then he cooked it up. But yeah, I think that's my strangest, but it's not really strange because it's fucking calamari. So
yeah, but it was like a huge fucking piece of fucking octopus, not like actual.
No, it was an octopus.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
I ate. So I remember having a memory. I don't believe I ate it.
You remember having a memory?
Yeah, no, I remember. Listen, all right, fuck off, John. I had a memory that scarred me. All right, when I was like 7 or 8 years old, where my neighbor of my grandfather used to hunt squirrel all the time. This is some Appalachian shit for real.
There we go.
Okay. So I didn't eat it, but I'm going to tell you the story anyway. So we went up there because he was going to cook some squirrel. And I was thinking, I'm like Andon's age. So I'm like, all right, whatever. That's what we do. We cook and eat squirrel. I don't fucking know, right? I'm a little kid. Fuck. So I get up there and he's skinning the fucking squirrels. And I've never seen, to this day, I've never seen anything like this in my life. So here's this fucking squirrel, which I probably saw grabbing a fucking acorn an hour before that, right? He just sliced a little slit and then stepped on the skin and literally pulled it off like a shirt, John. Yeah. Right? And at 8 years old, you're like, what the? And then he literally, got it, whatever, and was starting to boil it. So I almost ate squirrel. That's going to be my answer. But I think I'm still scarred from watching this motherfucker pull the skin off like a fucking t-shirt when I was, I don't know if you've ever witnessed anything like that, but it's like, fucking,
that's what hunters do. Like,
I know it is, but I was like, in fucking, I thought I was going up to eat some fucking fried squirrel or some shit. Instead, I got a whole lesson on, so most hunters would be like, oh, fuck, that's no big deal. But to me, I don't hunt. And when I first saw that when I was a kid, I knew I probably wasn't ever going to hunt.
No squirrel for you.
Yeah, no squirrel for me. All right, Trey, what do you got next?
Meanest thing you've ever said to someone.
Oh, come on.
John, let's go.
The fucking meanest thing I've ever said. Jesus Christ. I don't know.
It doesn't have to be the meanest thing you've ever said, John.
There's a lot there. There's not one thing that comes to mind. I'm sure, I'll have to pay for my sins at a later date. I can't tell you, but I'm sure it's really bad. So
that's amazing. Yeah, there might be an asterisk by that one. John might go to jail.
Yeah. So,
I still think one of my favorite things you told John was about how you got you knocked over all the guys. You were drunk or something at a college party, and you knocked over all the equipment for the band playing, and then you said it was his fault. Yeah.
No, I punched him in the face.
No, that's what. No. Okay, tell that story real quick again. Though it was amazing.
It was terrible. It was a terrible thing. It was a horrible thing. I was in Purdue at some frat party, and there was like a band playing, and they had all their fucking amps, connected to their guitars and all this shit. And I was fucking wasted, and I was like, I'm not dealing with this crowd. I'm gonna go fucking stand right by the band. And I
of course you are.
I'm like, so I start walking closer, and I'm wasted. My foot gets caught on one of the fucking cords going from the amp to a guitar, and it literally like flips me into the air, and I land on my fucking face, split my lip open, and people see it and they're like, ooh, and I'm like, that motherfucker did it. And I think the dude was playing bass guitar, and I just fucking clocked him in his head.
Like mid-set?
Yeah. The band stopped playing because he fell. So,
well, because the bass line came and then there was nothing there, right?
Something like that. I don't remember much, to be honest. I was nearing blackout. So
yeah. Well, I remember. So I had this one kid at work for me back in the day named Derek, and he just fucking always basically tried to scoot by on everything. So every time I was out of town traveling in the old MP days or something, like I always would get like basically just shitty reports from the people that were he was underneath, and just like always just scooting by. And finally one day he dropped the ball again, and I literally fucking exploded. Now, John, this might be like a 6 for you out of 10, but for me, it'd be like a 9 or 10, where he was sitting in my office and I got up and I felt like there was a demon about to jump out of my chest. And I was like this, I go, I'm going to fucking lose it up in this motherfucker right now. If you don't basically, I told him like, run out of my office or I'm going to fucking strangle you. And I don't know, I called him some things and words and said some shit that probably I'm not proud of, but it was so out of character for me. Everybody in the fucking office looked like they didn't even know how to act. Like, because our office is the same office now. It's all open, right? So everybody can hear everything. So as I'm screaming at this guy, I walk into the gym, I'm throwing shit off the fucking wall. I'm kicking shit. Like, I'm fucking trying to get myself out of the situation because I don't want to fucking strangle him or punch him in the mouth. But I got so fucking mad that I like wasn't proud of it. But also what was crazy is it set the tone for everything. And then the guy that kind of moved into his position, his first thing he said to me was, whatever the other guy did, what could I do not to do that? So you know what I mean? So as John's shaking his head, sometimes if you can controllably act like that, which I was that was probably the most out of control I'd been as a professional, to be honest, like in a setting where, you know, I was wrong, but the tone it set was, man, this dude really got this in him. And, you know, he looked like he was going to fucking really hurt this kid. And I really was like, you need to like leave and never come back, because I like really fucking almost lost it. So I can't remember exactly what I said, but whatever it was definitely not like by human resource standards. That's for sure.
Yeah, something popped in my head, and this is not the worst. I actually this is something I said, but it was coupled with an action. So I used to do some things that were not the best, and so basically one time there was a guy who I really didn't like, but he just wasn't big enough to like you know mess with physically. So I saw him at a party. And I filled up a beer bottle with piss, and I put it in the refrigerator. I mean, look, listen, it looked just like Miller High Life. And I had this girl I know. I said, his name was James. I said, go ask James if he wants a beer. He's a fucking degenerate. Of course he wants a free beer. He's a fucking bum. So she's like, James, you want a beer? He's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, man, I swear to God. He's like, oh, man, this is some cold beer. Thanks. And he fucking slugs it. And I just walked right up to him. I said, you drank my piss, bitch. And then I spit on him. Yeah, that wasn't really nice of me, but he was a fucking prick. So,
John, that's amazing. I couldn't even listen. Yeah. I don't know if I could have hoped for a better story than that.
Yeah, so that just popped in my head. James, I'm not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. All right, Trey, next. That's a good one.
All right, pick one of these: quality of life or quantity of life, and why?
I don't know what quantity of life means. What does that mean?
Meaning, just would you rather live a shorter life and enjoy more, or live a longer life?
Oh, quality. Yeah, quality of life, 100%. There's a lot of people out there who live long lives that are miserable, and I'd rather live a shorter life that's meaningful.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with John. I can tell you, I don't think I've ever really thought of that before. And I think because as entrepreneurs, we're pushing to do both, right, John? We want to live a quality life with freedom, and as we take care of ourselves, hopefully be healthy as long a period of time. So that's like the pursuit. So, but yeah, I would absolutely rather have an enjoyable, fun filled life compared to, being miserable. I was around a lot of people as a younger person that feel like they really were somewhat miserable. And I think that was part of what really drove me to try to pursue what I really wanted to do with myself, because I just couldn't see myself doing something I hated for 30 or 40 years and then being mad when I'm retired and then dying 3 years later. That's just what I saw. And I also saw like guys that I really enjoyed working with that were in their 60s, that were in the coal mine. And this one guy specifically, and he was still working because he actually I think he liked the locker room. He liked being around the guys and stuff. And the dude retired and died 2 years later. I remember Randy calling me and saying, man, John died. And I'm like, dude was retired for 24 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it's like, I don't know, just not like about working 20 hours a day. These guys work crazy hours, and then you got no real like time to go do what you want if it's not a job that you absolutely love. So I agree with John on that one for sure.
Okay. If you guys could change one thing about yourself, so what would it be?
If I could change one thing about myself, what would it be? Oh man, I think it would just be, man. There's a lot of things, but I think it would be just having. I think having more. I've never quite understood why I don't feel sympathy towards people. I'm not sympathetic at all, and I'm not empathetic at all towards anyone.
Zero, Johnny?
Yeah, it's almost like to a point where I'd like to be studied or something, because like I don't feel sympathy. It's really,
it has to be
weird.
something with the abuse as a kid, Johnny. How could it not be, right? That has to have something to do with it.
I mean, I've thought about it. I think that it comes from I was never shown that because of certain situations that go well beyond you know, abuse. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I'm not like.
So do you fake empathize, John, sometimes?
No, here's how I describe it.
This is interesting.
I can process if something is objectively. I can process if something is bad, unfortunate, and I can respectfully express condolences or this or that, but I don't feel it.
Yeah. Interesting.
My brain processes it, but I don't feel anything.
So that's so you can objectively understand it, but it doesn't mean it provokes anything inside that you can
feel nothing.
So it's weird because Ray always talks about that she can feel it actually off of others. Like it's a weird, like she's been like that her whole life, where it's like she feel like if someone else, especially family, someone else is I don't know, got a certain like heavy feeling, or even me, like if I'm super stressed, she can like literally like, she's like, man, you're like throwing it. It's almost like you explained, kind of seeing the colors. I think at times, like she's like, she'll just like pick up on it. It's interesting.
Oh yeah. I'm talking about with myself, not others.
Can you feel you can feel others' feelings, but for yourself, you can't get there.
Right. So here, like if I saw you struggling with, say, with the loss of a family member, like I can totally, I could feel that on you and see like, man, he's struggling with, like, I could see that. But me personally, when I saw that, I don't feel anything, but I can understand that it's not good.
Yeah. I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I often wonder, because we're so extreme. So if I think about myself, we're so extreme in one direction with the way that we are as entrepreneurs and the very focused kind of maniac mode, which it takes to be this way. I often wonder what it feels like to not feel like that. I don't know that I would like it, or if I would, but I really don't. I guess it's some people would say it's probably like fully relaxed, or like maybe more like a hippie feel, I guess. I don't really know, because I don't know how that feels at all. But I always wonder, like, what would it feel like to be not in your mind always thinking, and they're usually productive, like a push of this or make sure you do that. Like some people just don't really think about that stuff. They just be. And I don't know that I can do it at times, but I would say most of the time it's just, I'm always thinking of the next strategy or push or something I need to do. And, I can compartmentalize and I think achieve a lot of things, but it'd be interesting to be able to tap into that whole other way of thinking that I don't know I really like even understand. So like when I talk to people that think that way, it's interesting to me. And you're usually interested in the way that I think because it's so different. And that's obviously how I think we got to where we're at, John, because that's the way that our brain works. Sure. So I don't know that I change it, but I think I'd like to understand it or experience it. If I think about what I wanted to change as a kid, though, I wanted to be like 6'3". I just wanted to be a little bit taller because of our hoop dreams, Johnny. So that's the one thing physically. It would have been interesting to play as a younger player, being like 6'3", 6'4". My jumper still would have been broken probably. So it probably wouldn't have changed anything, but that would have been interesting. But the mindset stuff and those, to think like someone else completely, it'd just be interesting to still be able to revert back to how you are, but just to experience it, I guess, fully. I don't know. Good. I'm going to plug my charger in. So if I dip off screen, you know why, but go ahead, Trey.
All right. What's the worst job that you guys have ever worked?
The worst job. I think the worst job was probably man, I worked at like Enterprise Rent-A-Car when I was 16 or 17, for like a summer because one of my friend's brothers was a manager, and it wasn't. Basically, all we did was we would just pull the cars around and give them to the people who were renting them, and make sure like the interior is clean and all that stuff. It wasn't a horrible job because of what we did. Not at all. It was actually kind of fun, but it was a horrible job because the morale of the people in the office, like the people who worked inside Enterprise, who had college degrees, and like this was their career in their minds. They were so fucking, everyone, the energy was so bad. Everyone was so depressed. Like nobody was stoked to be there. So I could run that against like being, waking up hungover as fuck when I was like 18 to, do roofing at 6 a.m, which was painful and it's very hard work. But like at least there's like camaraderie up there, and the sun comes out, and I don't know, there was something there. But like Enterprise, it was just fucking depressing, man, and no one wanted to be there. The energy was just terrible.
Yeah, so it's interesting you say that, because the physical jobs aren't necessarily the worst jobs. That's what some people would probably associate, right? So, early, I guess, in my work career, I worked as like a fry cook / I don't even know why they would even let me do this. If I think back, it's hilarious. At like a Dairy Mart, like at like one of those like ice cream hut type things. Dude, in between making food, I had a 20-pound dumbbell outside, and I would sit on a milk crate and do concentration curls.
That's great.
That was amazing. So that wasn't my worst job, but the next one after that. So my mom was a waitress at Ponderosa, and it was like let's see, a relation of mine was a manager. So I got a job as the fucking dishwasher. Now I wouldn't say it was the worst job, but it was the grossest fucking job. And I'll tell you why, because you got motherfuckers coming to Ponderosa, which is like a hometown buffet. If you're not familiar, it's like going to a trough, bro. Motherfuckers are in there just blowing through food, and then I'm sorting through it as I'm like cleaning the dishes off, and it's just fucking gross. And then like you said, the morale of most of the people that were like kind of running the business, like the assistant managers and the other like head cooks, like none of them really liked being there. It just, I don't know. I just remember thinking like, if I look like this fry cook 20 years from now, I'm going to be fucking mad. Yeah. Like he's like looking at the 18-year-old girls that are fucking, like, I'm not mad at you for that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I think everybody that works
pervert agrees.
Exactly. Pervert. And I'm just like, your hair still looks like 1984. Like, dude, I'm not trying to fuck with that. Like, I just remember thinking like, one, this job's fucking gross. And two, I'm not trying to be like this dude, Bob, who's the fucking fry cook 20 years from now. So, I actually, the other thing was when I stacked lumber before I got the job in the coal mine, that was a little bit monotonous. So I would go to school from 8 to 12, and from 1 to 10, I would stack lumber at Danoons, which was a local guy, John, that started with his brother cutting timber for the sawmill and grew it in, before he died, he grew it into like a $30 or $40 million business and it employed the whole town. So he was like super motivational figure I was around growing up, which was cool because all of a sudden he comes up with this business and it explodes and he's sending lumber all over the world and stuff. But dude, the lumber would come down on a conveyor belt and you'd have 6 guys and you would literally stack the grade. So if it was like 1/2 inch thick and 12-inch long or 12 foot long, you'd stack it on a certain pile. You had to know poplar versus oak versus, all the different things. But dude, for 10 hours, in every 2.5 hours, you got a 15-minute break. You just got back in single file line and grabbed a board and put it on a pile. And bro, like for $6.75 an hour, no way. But anyway, those are my 2 favorites, non-favorites. Go ahead.
What's your guys' least favorite genre of music?
Least favorite genre of music. I would let me think here. Least favorite genre of music. I would go with, man, and I don't even know. I would say modern, and this is broad because I do like some modern artists, but in general, just for so many reasons, modern rap.
Yeah, mine is country music in general. I could listen to 6ix9ine over listening to fucking Kenny Chesney. all day long. I just can't fuck with it, bro. I never could fuck with it. It's not me. I tried to go to a Shania Twain concert when I was a kid because I thought there'd be a bunch of hot chicks there. And then I just couldn't even really fuck with that. I just can't fuck with country music. So I don't know why. It just never. And I grew up around it too. Like everybody I grew up around listened to country music. Yeah. I just never, even though I knew the fucking truck they was talking about that was broke down, my cousin had, or I've worked on a farm. I did all that stuff, but it just never jived with me. I don't know. So like modern rap, I don't love it, but I can listen to it over country music.
but real quick, because I know Trey's really into this stuff. So
sure.
When I said that, it feels weird because do I love country music? No, I don't.
Do you love it more than modern rap though?
I do, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I do, and I'll tell you why. Because although it's homogenized and it's like pop music for a certain geographic area of the country, it's not like it's almost like good time music, easy listening music. It's not my shit. I don't dig it. But like with modern rap, here's the thing, because like I said, I like rap and I like hip hop. These new guys, like why is it accepted? And I'm asking you this, Trey, because I know you're into this stuff. For somebody to be an artist or call themselves that, and you can't understand what they're saying. Like why do people grab that and think it's cool?
Yeah, so the whole
before you talk real quick, does John sound just like an old motherfucker talking out?
No, I don't think he does. So
okay, good.
I really don't think the whole mumble rap trend is like you said, I don't think they're actual artists or anything. But the only argument I would have is that I think that like new age hip hop has a lot of very, very good artists. It's just that, like you said, the mainstream hip hop music nowadays is basically pop music. So when you look at like an artist like Drake's basically making like a pop song that's going to be played on the radio during the summer or something like that. Versus some, new school artists that, might only have 2 million followers, that he's not mainstream enough that, that someone like you, maybe you, John, that you don't dive totally into it, you might not know who he is. Correct. But a lot of other people like me, for example, might know someone like that. And that might actually be the people that, we actually really enjoy their music. Because me personally, I'm not going to sit there and listen to like mainstream hip hop music, but I do listen to a lot of hip hop music that's new age that, the people might range in between the 1 million and 5 million follower range or listens that are, very, very talented, but they're not on the mainstream level whatsoever.
I get that. And I get like, right. Chance the Rapper, which that's a generic example, but like I get his talent. Okay, I get his talent, and I respect his talent. And
I would say he's a mainstream hip hop artist
for sure.
Yeah, he's like a mainstream sellout artist. He's like a Drake, in my opinion.
Trey just went there. He called him a sellout.
Okay, so that's interesting. Do you think he's a sellout because he's become successful? Why do you think
he's a sellout because of his change in style of his art. So if you take a look at his first two mixtapes, 10 Days and Acid Rap, the style of the music is considerably different than his new music.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not the same. It's not the same music at all. On his latest album, it's basically an album where he just was trying to get songs that would be on the radio.
Is Coloring Book somewhere in between the two, Trey?
Coloring Book's like kind of like that in between, There's like some stuff on there that like it kind of resembles the old him, but then there's some stuff on there that's like, okay, he definitely made that.
So that's all I really know from Chance. So if he would have stayed in Coloring Book area, would he not be a sellout in your mind?
I think, the thing was, I think Coloring Book was kind of like that little turning point. So I think he's already trying to sell out there.
Put it this way. My point with Chance is the fact that like a guy like that could be respected. Now I'm talking like Migos, right? Like you hear something like that and it's like, get the head, get the pussy,
Yeah, but that's not real hip hop.
It's like,
that's also.
What is that? Like, and these people like, the baby number one, the baby, the thug, young thug, little thug, Uzi Man, like all these fucking people, like that's
Uzi Man,
fucking suck. But like whatever,
yeah, but
it's like,
they all fall. I mean, those couple previous artists that you listed off, though, they all fall under a very certain genre of hip hop music, which would be trap rap. And trap rap specifically is kind of that mumble rap kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they're all kind of a certain demographic.
So trap rap is my least favorite.
Trap rap
is. So you just pinned it. That's what I wanted. Trap rap.
I like it.
Least favorite. And that white guy, Machine Gun Kelly.
But he's now a punk rocker, I think.
Yeah, he's a faker. He's a faker. That's like fucking Jay-Z playing in a rock band. Okay,
yeah. But Ice-T did it. Ice-T did it.
Ice-T did Body Count, and
Body Count was legit.
And he still rapped on the mic. He wasn't really singing. He was just, it was more like punk screaming. So
that's true.
Moving on.
I like how we got to that answer though. Go ahead, Trey.
What's your guys' favorite movie?
Okay, we're in 4th grade now. Yeah, 4th grade here. My favorite movie is probably The Godfather or Braveheart or Shawshank Redemption. But yeah, probably Godfather. Yeah.
Why though?
Why?
Yeah.
Because it's a fucking masterpiece. So if you look at gangster movies, they are. And I love Goodfellas. I love
Goodfellas.
I love that stuff. But that's more sensationalism. The Godfather really shows you how a Italian American crime family really operates. They don't sensationalize it. They show you kind of how it works from the inside out. The struggles, the struggle to go from criminal to above board businessman, which is what they all attempt to do. That's how Las Vegas was built. No. I mean, that's how Las Vegas was built by the mafia. Period. End of story. It's a fact. But that was their attempt to say, okay, all of our money's dirty. It's dirty money. How do we wash it and how do we make it legal? Oh, let's go to somewhere in the country. Okay, Las Vegas was a piece of the desert that were Nevada and their governor and all these people are gonna love the idea of building up a destination city resort that generates millions and billions in tax revenue. Great. True. So that's what they did. They teamed up with the Teamsters Union and other unions, and that's how Las Vegas was created. So The Godfather is amazing because it even takes you through that period right there. So I think the Godfather 3 is a fake movie. Godfather 1 and Godfather 2, some would argue 2 is better than 1. I think 1 is better, but they're mandatory watches. Period.
Yeah. I go with the super 4th grade Goonies as number 1 for me. I don't know why.
That is amazing.
I knew you'd love. There's some. I think it's I don't know if it's the treasure hunt, if it's I don't know. But I to defend myself, I used to want to be an archaeologist when I was a real little kid. So I think that's part of the pirate treasure, John. So anyway, don't laugh at me. That I'm trying to be honest.
Okay, all right. No, Goonies is a good movie, bro.
Fuck you, Bosco. Yeah, yeah. But Goonies is a good movie, bro.
Yeah,
I wasn't. Yeah. I know you like that character, John.
Oh, I love that fucking character.
Hey, you guys.
Yeah. Hey, you guys.
So all right. So fucker. Goonies, and then The Patriot is one of my favorites. And I think obviously because of Mel Gibson, but I think there's something about that colonial time, Revolutionary War time. I don't know, just kind of this side of the U.S. Understanding all of that. I think there's just I don't know what it is. I think when I see those kind of scenes, I picture them being countryside Ohio now. I feel like how that would be, because I have a Civil War gravesite real close to my house, literally like right across the street from my house. And I think it's like, I think about literally if I looked out my door, which is what happened in some of these farming communities, and motherfuckers were fucking walking down the field shooting motherfuckers. Like, I don't know. There's something about me that it pulls me in to feel like and look around at my surroundings. So Patriots always done that. So I don't really have a number 3 that's off the top of my head, but those are the 2 that I tend to watch every time they're actually on TV. Like I won't say, hey, I'm going to watch Goonies or hey, let's watch The Patriot. But if they're being shown and they're on and I'm like flipping the channels, I have a hard time not watching it. So I'm sending you Goonies for Christmas, you fuck.
Hey, dude, Goonies is a good movie.
It made you laugh, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? But that is my favorite movie. I can't deny it.
Fantastic.
All right. Next try.
What's
That's
someone
a good movie, dude. This fucking guy.
What's someone have to do to impress you?
You talking about a man or a woman, dude?
A man, and let's say in
Business
business
Yeah.
wise.
Okay, all right. Okay, a little context helps.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Do you need a certain? I mean, if it's a girl, does she have to twerk a certain way, John, or what? What do you?
What angle are we going?
Let's go business. Let's go business. It's a business show. All right.
Someone who could take a hypothetically, someone who could take a beating, someone who can get their fucking shit pushed in, reamed out, and sit there and process the information and understand why they're being given information or being spoken to in that way, and that doesn't slow them down, because for people who say they want to excel and go to higher levels, there's going to be tremendous bumps in the road, and a lot of those bumps are going to be learning very hard lessons. So if you do not have thick skin and you cannot take a beating, if you will, and just keep moving forward, you're not going to make it. So that's what typically impresses me: someone who can literally make a mistake, take a fucking beating, and keep moving forward.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that. I agree with that, and the initiative on top of that. So somebody that has initiatives, bringing things to the table, that add value, complements things that it can see as needed, and then on top of it, when it's over, kind of, I guess, not following protocol and kind of goes rogue, fucks it up, and then can lick their wounds and then come back better the next time. So kind of piggyback off John said, I think that's what impresses me the most. Like, I like to be, there's people we've worked with for years and years that have either delivered at or over delivered. Sometimes they get out of whack a little bit, but then like John said, if they fuck up, not just like making a bunch of fucking excuses. I fucking hate that. Like, dude, I fucked up all kinds of stuff, and I just admit it. If I forget something or I fucking mess something up, look, I fucked it up. I won't, not doing it again. Repeating the same fuck up again drives me fucking crazy. Like, if I fucking really get on somebody, just don't make the same fucking mistake again. Right, John? Like, that drives me fucking crazy more than anything, I think. And if you want to impress me, fucking have initiative, push, and then when you fuck up, which you're going to, because we all do, just don't fucking replay it again. So I have to go through the same thing. Like that, when we used to have some guys that work for us, we have the same conversation 7 times. I'm like, I'm not a fucking babysitter. I mean, that's what I feel like. You know what I'm saying at that point. So so I think at the end of the day, we definitely share that for sure. Go ahead, Troy.
What are you guys currently taking the time to learn about or teach yourself?
You guys brought it up at the beginning of the show. I'm teaching myself basically just to become very proficient in the use of multiple different kinds of firearms.
Artillery. What I'm currently learning is about tendon health. With having the injury last year to supraspinatus, which is in your shoulder, one of your rotator cuffs, I ripped mine off. Learned a bunch about just support of that joint. And then I've been studying a ton of stuff about the patella tendon with, working on some jumping protocols. So inside of kind of my craft of fitness, I've been studying a bunch about how to stiffen up the tendon to be able to transfer more power. Because the thing that I learned when I was younger, I always had jumper's knee, which is basically patella tendonitis. And, during basketball season, it would bug me and then it would get better, but no one ever told me like, this is how you make it better. Right. And even though I think I possess the ability to jump as high as I want, I can't run and transfer. I can't transfer the actual power properly because my conductor, being the patella tendon, is weak. And so no matter how much you lunge or squat, it's very different once you start to take your body and actually, levitate towards the rim or do whatever. And so that is one thing that I've been studying a ton, and I'm having some good results with, and we'll continue, and we'll see how's the performance with my new kind of thing I'm trying to do, which is get up and dunk again. So I've been studying a ton about that, actually.
Okay. What new technology do you guys think will transform in the future?
AI. AI to me is man.
Talking about
practice. You think like robots about to take over some shit?
Just artificial intelligence, man. I mean, I think there's no way to regulate it, right? There's no way to control it because once again, the government's not going to do it because they don't understand it, and we are having, robots learn like people learn, and we are having robots that can understand their own dialects that aren't human dialects.
Yeah.
And they're able to basically make a mistake and then log that as a mistake, recode themselves to not make that mistake again. And it's concerning because for business, it's great. So there's going to be, the private sector is already putting billions and billions and billions and billions, if not more than that, into artificial intelligence. But when you have things that are created that are intelligent, but they're not human, you talk about, okay, so back to me not having sympathy or empathy, like we talked about at the beginning of the show. Well, I don't think robots and all this stuff do. So how do they know that like killing somebody is bad? You know what I'm saying?
They don't know.
and if they can speak to each other, and sure, this is way down the road. How do we know that they don't fucking band together? And I mean, this is.
I've seen this film before. It's called Terminator 2.
No.
But I agree, Johnny.
This stuff is happening as we speak. AI is where all these big tech companies are putting their money, and it's training these things to think and act like humans, but they're not humans. So I think the line there is we got to be very, very delicate. That's my take.
I saw an article from Mark Cuban explain. He said, if I was a younger coder, programmer, whatever, I'd be learning everything I could about AI. That would be the field that he's looking to put his money, or already has, I'm sure, at this point. And that if somebody is in that kind of realm, that they would be putting all their time like in their craft. He said that right there is, how could it not be? Because like you just said, people are pouring billions of dollars into it. I don't know that I have a better answer than that. I think when you look at the Alexas and all those type of things and I think the other technology is probably the self-driving car. Like, I don't know that I would trust it anytime soon, but eventually it'll probably be the norm. You know what I mean? By the time, maybe in a decade, you think? Maybe sooner?
Maybe, I mean, I don't know. I know they're in, I think Phoenix is a market that they're in for like Ubers or taxis.
It's actually happening?
Yeah.
Really?
So Google, I believe, acquired a company and they're spearheading that. But yeah, I think you'll start to see that roll out in the next couple of years.
So AI and I think the self-driving car would be the two that probably would transform. Because the thing about it, if you essentially had more time, like, if you have drive time to work, whatever, I mean, it would be interesting to be able to have like an automated chauffeur.
Absolutely. I mean,
I could see the value there.
With traffic, yeah. For sure.
You could work another couple hours. Hey, just what we need to do. You know what I mean? Work more, but everything's about to be remote mostly anyway. But regardless, I think that those two would be huge. Go ahead, Trey.
Yeah.
What 3 words would you guys use to describe yourself?
3 words. Fucking driven, consistent, and
I know what you're gonna say. Loyal. You're a loyal motherfucker, Johnny.
Loyal, but it's not like when I have to put an asterisk by loyal. It's loyal to a few. So there are people who are generally loyal. I'm loyal to a few, but I guess if I deal with you, I'm gonna be, yeah, like I'm the last guy who, is going to, I've talked about this on this show, talk to someone's girlfriend, talk to someone's wife, just out of the thought that someone could interpret it the wrong way, right? Because I feel that's like showing respect and loyalty without even saying it. Now, some people may say that's over the line, but that's me. That's how I roll, because I would never want anything to be perceived in that way. And yeah, loyal.
Yeah, I think consistent's the first thing. I think that to have any type of success in any type of business or life, you have to be a consistent person. So that's definitely the first one. And if I think from like the initial craft standpoint, not even really talking about business, but just like from a fitness standpoint, I kind of view myself a little bit radical. And the fact that like I've been a testing project for so long on myself, this is part of why there's certain things that I've been able to claim within my methodology. And it's because I've spent so many years and so much time trying radical things with my body, whether I weighed 240, whether I weighed 165, and pushing things like I did the muscle trifecta, where I did a Olympic lifting meet on a Friday, a powerlifting meet on Saturday, bodybuilding show on Sunday, or I'm sorry, bodybuilding show Saturday, powerlifting meet Sunday. I think that I always am trying to think outside the box in a very saturated kind of spot, and on top of being drug free to boot. So I've viewed myself kind of like as a radical dude within my space. And I think that's why I've been able to do certain things that are kind of really unique to me. And third, I don't know. I think that I don't know what the word would be, but I'm definitely like with my family, as radical and as consistent and crazy as I am. I also, especially in the last few years, we've talked a lot about being present, the stillness and understanding. Like, I think in the last few years, I've done a much better job when I'm spending time that I know is extremely valuable. Certain things you're doing, time that I spend with my grandparents in their 90s. Like and I don't know what the word would be, but I've been a better job of really being present for stuff that I'm going to remember, and I don't take it for granted. So I don't know what that classifies as, but like the third thing is, I think that that's another way I would describe. So I really understand certain moments in my life, and I take a lot of, like, I take time to recognize them when they're happening. And I don't know if some people are aware. So maybe that's just an awareness of certain things, but that's what came to mind.
What's the most rewarding advice that you guys have gotten from a family member?
Most rewarding advice. I say it on the show all the time. That generally speaking, and you can apply this to everything I say it all the time, it's not about you. And I remember being told that by my mom when I was young, and because we all have this way of making every situation about ourselves, when if you step back from it, it's really not about you. You're just a figure in it, and it involves other people and bigger things and bigger thoughts, and there's other layers. So I think it's a knee-jerk reaction for human beings to think it's about them, and that's egotistical. So my mom made it clear to me very young that when I would talk about certain things, that like it's not about you. You may play a part in it, but it ain't about you. So
do you think that John, if she gave you that advice young, did you then reflect on that in certain situations to be able to make things better if you thought you were asserting yourself in that manner?
I literally try to live that way, because I don't think anything's about me. Even my life and my decisions, it's not really about me. There's reasons I choose to do certain things, and I try my best to not have them be about me, because I believe, without going too deep, the point of life is to serve a bigger purpose than yourself. We're always going to serve ourselves or find a way to take care of ourselves. That's a given. But I think if you want to live a purpose driven life, what you do has to always be lending itself to something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, I think I was trying to think, I've got a lot of good advice from my grandfather over the years, but I think one of the ones that always comes up, and I think it's because of business, is he had some things, because he owned a business for years where he built homes, and there was a couple things that went kind of sideways towards the end of his career that I don't think he was real happy with, and it kind of messed him up a little bit. He ended up having a fine retirement and everything, but it was like, I just know at the end of the day, he kept coming back to the guy with the gold makes all the rules. And basically you need to, and he's like, the bridge the gap between whatever your situation is to have no gold to some gold. It takes a long fucking time and a lot of work and perseverance. And once you then get the gold, whatever that means to you, so you can invest, have freedom, whatever that means to you, it means something different to everybody. And $1,000 and 100,000 and 100 million, it all depends on the person. Right. But it was like, I started to understand like the freedom is there. That's when stuff is paid. You've got it backed by gold, whatever, however you interpret that. It was just something that I could tell when he told me that he didn't feel like at that time, maybe he was in that position or hadn't been like he wanted to be. And so he really wanted me to understand like the leverage is with the person that has the money. That's just the fucking truth. And if you don't got any money, you got way less leverage. You could have a really great skill set. Me and John, listen, how many motherfuckers have we met that are talented and good and in theory could make a lot of money, but can't make a fucking dime?
Most people.
A ton, right? So at the end of the day, the guy with the gold makes the rules and they can move the needle. So, I wanted to be a guy who had talent and belief in certain parts of my craft, but had to achieve some sort of money in business so I could make them come true. And have my family right. So I think that was very, kind of small statement, but really impactful. And I interpreted multiple different ways pretty young.
Okay. John, this question is more specifically for you. What makes you smile?
Oh, that's a good question. It's a real good question. Probably my dog, dude. I think it's because
Bam, let's go.
Yeah. Probably because there's something about something that wants nothing but like love and your presence. That's like its best day ever, right? Like that's like the dog's best day ever. It's like you're around and you're giving it like that. That's all it wants. Like it doesn't have all these other, conditions on like the motherfucker.
It's unconditional.
It's the embodiment of unconditional love. When are they unhappy to see you? Never. And the little fucker can do things that you're like, holy shit, how do you he can behave in ways that he's so fucking smart, and it's like he knows what I'm going to do. He's anticipating my behavior, and I think there's something that's so basic and simple about it. But yeah, it makes me smile because it says like, okay, there's like a soul in there, and the soul is like mine. Sure, we're different species, but yeah, I think it's the simplicity.
I gotta admit, I never would have guessed that answer.
Yeah,
that's really cool though. But the meaning behind it is awesome, Fosco. Yeah. It's pretty cool. I knew you and Bam's relationship was really strong. Now I'm really impressed.
Oh yeah.
So, the meathead in me would always say early, something related to that, lifting wise, big lifts, whatever. But it really, I think what lifting taught me, and then I learned about other parts of life, was about building confidence, And so as a father, when you see your kids who aren't going to be like you, they're their own people, but you see certain things click that makes them feel a different way in a positive manner, whether it's, I mean, the easiest way is to say sports, but it's really more about life, things that they do, things they try when they, you know, like I watch my daughter, man, for like 3 meets not get, like in front of crowds of people, flipping on beams, like doing some high end like gymnastic shit and struggling through, and then have a breakthrough of confidence, you know, and be the last on her team a couple times, and then come through and hit a big number and have to persevere through that. And then just watch her personality through that change to so much more confident, to where like I would see her deal with like, you know, little girls got drama, like just the way she would handle herself, like confident, like, and I get a lot of joy that makes me, because I know what it did for me. And so they all have their own ways that, you know, I see their confidence uptick, but I just know at the end of the day, the cumulative amount of all of these things is what makes them into people. And I'm trying my best to shepherd those things and intervene where I can to kind of help, and just see them all kind of in their own way. It continues to dial. And then when, you know, they're having their times where it's not, where I can lend some support as a dad to say like, hey, maybe you should try this or try that, and try to be there and understand that whole process. That really, I feel a ton of joy when I see those little moments and realize how that's like shaping them as people when they persevere through things or get something. And that probably makes me more happy than anything.
Okay.
Let's go one more, Trey.
All right. Oh, one more?
1 or 2 more.
All right.
I know there's 200, so.
What's the number one way to annoy you guys?
Lie or say you're gonna do something and don't do it. You know, it's just there's a certain place for people in life that say they're gonna do things and then they don't do them, because typically people who do that, those aren't isolated, right? Those aren't isolated incidents. That's kind of how they live their life. And yeah, that kind of shit just will fucking light me up. So as opposed to getting lit up, if I notice that about somebody, I just choose not to be in their presence.
Just cut them the fuck out, right, John?
Yeah, I'm not gonna deal with it.
Yeah, I choose the same. I don't deal with people I can't like count on. And it doesn't matter, like, if I can't rely on something that you say you're going to do, even if you just look, if you say I'm going to go kill this, and at least if you go give it your all, at least I know I can count on you to go do what you said. Like at the end of the day, I really have a hard time with people that are always telling me what they're going to do. Motherfucker, I didn't tell anybody. I just went and did it. It's like that fucking Marshawn Lynch shit, right? All about that action, boss. Like I want to see motherfuckers, like Andrew Carnegie talked about it in his book. He's like, you know, the person that is busting their ass and trying and reliable is the one you should help. It's the one that's not is the one you shouldn't help. It's just the fucking truth. And they're usually the one that feel entitled and they're barking at you. Nah, motherfucker, the one that's got their head down that you can rely on is the one I want to help all day. So it's like the opposite of that is what annoys the fuck out of me, because I didn't, you know, I'm not going to waste my time. I didn't get here by being that way. I just can't tolerate it, and I get annoyed really fucking fast. Same as John.
Okay. This last question is pretty serious. What color is your toothbrush?
Next question.
Hey, Trey didn't make that up. In his defense, it's probably on the list. That's
whoever submitted that, stop listening to the show.
No, it's not John. It wasn't a question submitted. I pulled this offline.
Yeah, where do you get this from?
So I just listen before the show. I Google searched rapid fire questions, and there was a list of 200 questions come up, and I just copied them and sent them to Trey. John's answer is he doesn't brush his teeth. Next question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Favorite superhero and why?
There we go. That's a good one.
Next question.
You don't have a favorite superhero?
You don't have a favorite superhero?
Fuck superheroes. Fuck superhero movies. They ruin the fucking movies. They ruin the box office.
Oh, I sense a little upsetted.
All these fucking explosions.
John, I know you grew up as Peter Pan.
Motherfuckers who fucking need to watch an explosion for 2 hours to keep your interest. If you don't see something explode for fucking 10 seconds, you're walking out of the theater, you're falling asleep because you're fucking ADHD and your parents never gave you fucking Ritalin. That's why all I got to see is Superman, Avengers. It's all shit.
I never watched it.
Next question.
John's favorite superhero, Peter Pan.
When are you guys most productive in the day?
There we go. That's a good one to answer.
When?
Yeah, when?
Oh, 100% post-workout. You know, like right after I work out in the morning, typically right around 10:30. Starting at 10:30, but 10:30 to noon. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with John. I think whatever I have to get out of my body to be normal has to happen early, and then after that I can be the most productive, because I think my thoughts.
Are you referring to semen?
No, I'm not. It's referring to semen. I mean,
shit.
I'm not.
I got to get that out of my body sometime.
I'm not real productive after that happens, John.
Oh, really? Dude, see, like, yeah, I want to get up and do stuff after I fucking come. So.
Yeah, so not
it's
so
awesome.
much.
Like, I always want to go eat. I always like to go play games. Maybe some.
Is that productive, John?
Oh,
about business.
Absolutely. Let's drink. I want to drink Monster after it.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Purple drank. I think for the after I'm done with my conditioning, so lifting weights, conditioning, that's probably when I think the most clear. That's when I like to either put my ideas down for any type of content. I have like a window of a real clear window for like about 30 minutes after I'm done with lifting. So it's either on the drive home, and then after conditioning, I'll have another kind of window like that. So a lot of my ideas just kind of get kind of puked out of my brain, not even in any type of order. And then a lot of times I'll come back to them a few hours later and say, okay, I can put a little context to this, or this. But I got better at writing them down when that happens, because I used to be like, oh, I'll just come back to this, and I would just forget. But that's when I'm probably the most productive, at least from a creative standpoint, I would say for sure. But sounds good. John, that was kind of fun. It was random, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was random. Next time, let's get big boy questions. But yeah, it was fun.
Well, once again, they weren't submitted. They were pulled off the internet.
Yeah, I can't.
But there was scorch
anybody for this.
No, no. The toothbrush one would be amazing if you could somebody for that.
Toothbrush. Yeah, I mean, I would love a handle.
Just the humor of that question being asked to you is part of the content.
If I'm a Business and Biceps listener, I'm like, what the fuck is this? What color is your toothbrush? But yeah,
I'm just glad you brushed your teeth.
Hey, I'm glad you wipe your butt.
All right. Johnny Fosco.
Gee.
Trayvon. Can the podcast be stopped?
The podcast can't be stopped.